whatever the fuck is coming up on. I get on this piece of favorite podcast that's on this podcast since the motherfucking beginning. If anybody has learned or heard some of my old little live streams of me playing Call of Duty, know I love the Weapon Wheel podcast. That don't mean I love everybody on the web, because it's been I don't calm the fuck down because I feel like it ain't that serious. But I really hated a member on the Weapon Wheel podcast, and I kind of got off of that because, you know, I was like, you know what, this is wrong. This guy is a regular human being like I'm a human being. Why the fuck am I going so hard at him? And his name is Kid Smooth. Now, I was not the biggest fan of Kid Smooth, but he was part of the team. Let me put this out here, and I'm finna make some people mad when I say this. I also listen to a lot of Zaire's podcast, Next Gen 720, because he's funny. He makes the show funny, along with Porter Rock 77, who bees on the multiplayer podcast when they shutting down them Xbox fools. Which, let me say this up front, I love somebody that gets on Xbox and she plays Xbox mostly, and it's two chicks I love. One name is Blue, she's a beautiful young woman. She's a chick of color. And I love Luca, another chick of color, and they're lovely. Also love She-Wolf. Also love Foxfire, GKB, or PG, I forget how the podcast, the name of it was. And I think there's a lot of cool people on the Xbox side of things, right? So let me not say I hate Xbox people, because I'm going to tell you something. Let me give you a little piece of history about me. Let me tell you my history. I was a young nigga in the year 1994. Young nigga. And I was done with video games, right? I was finished with the genre. Because I felt like Nintendo was not moving video games forward. I felt like Nintendo was, they were basically keeping games the same. And to this day, if you play on a Nintendo console, those games are the same. They are no different. They characters, most of them don't talk. All their games are still very, I'll be honest with you, good people, if it wasn't for, I'm about to go on a little bit of a tangent, but I'm gonna get back to the main point too. If it wasn't for when Sony came into the industry and PlayStation, we probably would have never got games like Resident Evil. We never probably would have got games like Tomb Raider. We never probably would have got the Final Fantasy 7s, the Xenogears, all these great games, in my opinion. I'm not saying they're good to you. I'm saying they were good to me. And for 2 generations, all I cared about was PlayStation, because to me, they had the best games. PlayStation 1 was the Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, JRPG machine. Excuse me. PlayStation 2 was the Grand Theft Auto machine. Do you feel me? It was the Grand Theft Auto machine. I don't give a fuck what nobody tells you. This is the absolute truth. Now, were there other great games that came along in that generation? Of course it was. But it was not the game of the generation. The game of the generation was Grand Theft Auto. And you saw how hard they all fought over that franchise when the next generation, the game of the generation was Resident Evil. And you saw how hard they fought at the beginning of that generation over Resident Evil. And Capcom, and I'll be honest with you, Capcom and Square Enix was the 2 biggest third parties, in my opinion, that people talked about during that generation of consoles. Everybody wanted to play Parasite Eve. Everybody wanted to play the next Resident Evil. Everybody wanted to play the next Final Fantasy. See what I'm saying? It was the generation of that. We move forward over to PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 was the birth of the open world game. We got some really good ones. The first Godfather game, really good, but not the game of the generation. Devil May Cry series, not the game of the generation. The game of the generation was Grand Theft Auto. Every generation of consoles has that number 1 motherfucking numero uno game. Okay? PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. What made Xbox 360 the best console in that generation, in my opinion? in my opinion. They have party chat, and they have the #1 game underneath their belt called Call of Duty. Now, we're moving over into this generation. Soon I'm going to get back to the podcast and smooth and all of that, but I want to let it lie on this generation we are here now. This generation of consoles, right? On a third party level, there has not been a game yet of the generation. And you know what? This generation's over at the end of 2018, 2019. This generation's over. And there has not been a game that you can say for this generation has been the game of the generation, the game that shaped that generation. There hasn't been one. I'm going to give you some close runner-ups that will, and I'm going to say it, I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to say it loud and proud. And what's fucked up is, ain't none of these games third party. Not one. I don't know what generation you consider Nintendo's console in, but Zelda could be considered a game of this generation. But I don't know what generation Nintendo's currently in. You don't know if they're in the 9th generation, the 12th generation, the 15th generation, knowing them niggas. I don't know. Let's go back. Let's move over to PlayStation. The game so far this generation for the PlayStation console is not Uncharted. Uncharted sold the most of their exclusives this generation. But the game of this generation, and everybody loves her, is Aloy with Horizon Zero Dawn. For the PlayStation, Horizon Zero Dawn is the game of the generation for right now. And I will say this for right now for a big reason. The Last of Us Part 2 may come out this year, may come out early next year. Spider-Man, God of War. Oh, God of War is already been, but this is not the God of War, it's a reboot. And Grand Theft Auto 3 was not the first Grand Theft Auto neither. Grand Theft Auto goes back to the PlayStation 1 era and the PC back when. We're in this era right now, and we have to really think what will be the game of the generation. This month here, in 2.5 weeks, you got God of motherfucking War coming out. You got Spider-Man. You got Days Gone. You got a lot. On the Xbox side, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you, I can't even tell you what game really sticks in my mind. Every motherfucker who like PlayStation, hate PlayStation, they know about Horizon. You can't say that about any Xbox, exclusive. Recore? You think Jewel or Jay, whatever the fuck that chick name, is on the level of Aloy? Fuck out of here. Let's move back over to the podcast situation, because I really want to talk about this. Okay. I heard about Heartache back on the Xbox 360 era when they first put the browser on the console. And I used to listen to his videos, and he had me laughing so motherfucking hard. He used to have me dying laughing. I never heard of Zaire. I didn't hear of Zaire until when him and Heartache fell out. I wish them brothers would get back together, because honestly, I know I'm talking like a wishful thinking on this, because shit has been said and feelings have been hurt on both sides. Even though motherfuckers say they don't give a fuck, that's bullshit. You care about what somebody said about you. You know, words are just like a fist or a bullet, and your pride can be hurt. Now, let's talk about the situation on the Weapon Wheel podcast. I'm going to get back over to the whole Heartache Zaire thing too. We'll go over to the Weapon Wheel podcast. I listen to the Weapon Wheel podcast like it's the show of the week. I'm going to say something like, what? Listen, I love the TV show Supernatural, right? I love the TV show, what else? Ooh, The Walking Dead, I watch that a lot too. I watch football games. I used to watch Vampire Diaries, and I ain't watched that fucked up Riverdale yet. I used to watch the 100 as well. It's like, Black Lightning, I watched that. But during the week, a few years back, there was a day of the show of the weekday on the CW, and I used to watch the CW all the time because they had type of shows I like. The Flash, Arrow, this type of stuff, right? Now I watch Empire, I watch Power when it comes back on. I like Game of Thrones. I like this Westworld show. Hope it's gonna be good. The first season was don't do the flashback bullshit no more. Just let it be the future, and let's see them do the Japanese world with the samurais and the Westworld. I want to see that. Don't go, people. This show to me was like must-see TV. It was TGIF. For y'all niggas that's old enough to remember, TGIF was when they used to show Full House and all that shit on the Channel 7 ABC channel here in Chicago, and Steve Urkel and them and all that. It was must-see TV. The Weapon Wheel podcast was must-listen every freaking week. And when I used to miss the show at the beginning, I would wait until they load the whole show online so I can hear it all. And Heartache and Jack Move Johnny and Bond, these was the niggas that were funny to me, because they would go at it. BG's funny to me too. People, BG's funny too in his way, you know. He's a little bit more reserved with his shit. But the one cast member, I'll go out there and say, even though I think Jimmy was okay, but Jimmy was just like a different nigga. You know what I'm saying? I think riding with Jimmy was okay. I think Jimmy was alright, right? But I didn't think but since he was Biden, they didn't want to be associated with that show, him with the show anymore. I understood that. Let's move over to Kid Smooth. Me personally, for about 2 years, I've had it out with Kid Smooth a bunch. You know, I've talked crazy shit to Kid Smooth. And then, you know, a situation happened with me with somebody who I consider like one of my best friends in the world. And I was like, you know what? I just went through this bullshit with a nigga that I've been down with forever. And we fall out over a game console, disagreement and shit. And we haven't spoken to each other in about 2 weeks almost, or almost 3 weeks and shit. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this no more. So I actually tweeted Kid Smooth saying, you know what, I'm sorry. You have the right to say any damn thing you want, right? And even after I said this to Kid Smooth continued with what Kid Smooth do. And this is nothing against him personally, because I don't think Jerry understands, like, certain niggas, and when I say certain niggas, I mean any color. Certain niggas think they can say any goddamn thing they want and people will not fucking respond. You know, like somebody calling you a dick rider. You're not a dick rider. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's talk about this here. And I do feel bad about falling out with my boy. I think about that shit every day. That shit bothers me. Now, I'm talking about this here because as much as certain things that Kid Smooth said, especially on the election night when Donald Trump became president, I fucking hated how he was saying, hurry up and call the motherfucking election. I'm like, nigga, I was on the motherfucking Twitter that night when you said call the election for fucking Donald Trump. I remember that. Oh, no, I didn't even vote. This is what black people do when they don't want to admit they voted for Trump. I ain't vote. Nigga, you know you voted for that man. Stop lying. At least the Hispanics that voted for him at least admit it, even though he can't fucking stand their guts. Shit. He hate them more than he hate us. But that's another story. Let me go ahead and keep it going. So the problem is that he would say things and I would sit there and be like, why is he going all beside himself saying just stupid and out of ball shit? And I was like, you know, I know what it is. This nigga just wants some attention. He wants the attention of other niggas to come in and say stupid shit to him. And he was kind of getting a battery up his ass about that, showing that, oh, I could rile these niggas up by saying stupid stuff. That's what he wanted. And I felt like, you know what? I'm seeing Heartache and niggas on that Weapon Wheel podcast trigger this nigga so much, he don't picked it up, what they call it, subconsciously and shit. I don't like using big words because I ain't that smart. He'll pick this whole trade up subconsciously and shit, and he's taking it to Twitter to try to get niggas heated. And you know what? He used to get me heated with the stupid stuff he used to say. I'm like, what the fuck? Really? Nigga, You don't went to college or something. You got a full-time job, nigga. You got all these kids. You that dumb? But then I was like, you know what? I backed off because I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter what he says. He's entitled to his opinion. Even after I said that, I would get on Twitter because he's on my Twitter list, and Kid Smooth was constantly say crazy shit. Like, what the is he alright? He said that all the time to myself, man, what is Kid Smooth smoking over there? That's some good weed, bruh. That's some good weed. Now, he has a short temper. He's one of those types of niggas that you will say something to, and they'll get all inside their feelings. Let me tell you something. When my boy called me a dick rider, I wasn't even mad at the nigga. I was like, dick rider, nigga, like, what? I didn't get mad when the nigga even said he was going to expose me. I wasn't even mad about the shit. But when I jumped in the party, what fucked me over was when he kicked me out the party. That's why I was like, yo, this nigga kicked the nigga out the party. That ain't never happened, ever. Me and cool with this nigga since '08. Nigga kicked me out the party? What? But that's here another. We ain't on that shit. So, Kid Smooth get beside himself and say stupid shit all day long. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like, you know what? I'm not even to give this nigga no energy. He was feeding off the negative energy. He's like his president. I'm gonna be honest. He's like, and for niggas who hear this, post this shit on Twitter. Kid Smooth get energy off of negativity like his president, Trump. Notice how he get a charge off the ignorance and stupid shit. He get charged off of that. And I felt like I ain't finna be the Energizer Bunny for this no more. Straight up. I'm not finna be his Energizer Bunny. And so that's why I came at him like, you know what, bruh, you got the right to say whatever the fuck you want. And from that, he's kept it going. But I've seen people say crazy stuff. I remember people used to go to the weapon winner and say, yo, Heartache, did you see what your nigga Kid Smooth said? You see what your nigga Jerry said? You see what this crazy nigga said? All the time. And I ain't never did that, but I heard the stories all the time while I watched the Weapon Wheel podcast, right? And I'm like, to be honest with you, if you was to rank the members of how important he is to the show, he is the least of these out of all of them. I mean, he's at the very tail end of the show. But I felt like he should be there because it would balance the show out, because Heartache's a neutral, he likes PC, like anything that's good to him. Jack Move is basically a PlayStation guy. BG's a PlayStation guy, but he don't like to admit it. But, you know, he's more of a PlayStation guy than anything and a PC guy. Bond is 100% a PC nigga to the world blow up. And, you know, they have some cool people on there that I laughed at a lot, like Baron is funny as fuck. But I don't know if he ever gonna be back on them. I think Jimmy B Game and Jimmy Mega had said some crazy shit, but he had learned not to go outside himself when he said stupid shit. Like, because I remember he said, I ain't even gonna say what he said a couple of times when he first started getting on that show. But I think it was the right mix, and the show was very, very popular. It's still very popular. But you can't, in my opinion, you can't get rid of Heartache or Jack Move Johnny from that show. You can't do it because those niggas belong in that. They make the show. I'll tell you a person that I really miss being on there is Red Infamy. Love listening to Red Infamy. Red Infamy was great on that show. I know she's a working woman and a beautiful woman. God, I mean, the girl looks like she's an ancient Egyptian princess from 10,000 years ago. Chick, you are beautiful. And I'm not saying that in the sexual, I'm just saying, yo, she's beautiful. She stands out. I love the chocolateness of her skin. She's amazing. Moving forward, let me talk about when I found out about Zaire, Heartache, they beef. I even went back on and listened to some of them getting into it over some shit. And I sit back and I like, you know what? Zaire is a funny ass nigga. He's a funny ass nigga. And I would have never known about that nigga until Heartache talked about him. I didn't know who the fuck he was. But by me moving through the circle and listening to Zaire, I heard guys like Mooch, and Crap and what's the other guy's name? He not on that anymore. They kicked that nigga off too. My God, what is that dude name? The black dude who's talking stupid shit all the time. That nigga. They kicked his ass off. So, you know, he had got a battery up his back about some bullshit that happened on their show. But regardless of the fact, he's not there no more, right? So you move past all this craziness from their old shows and stuff like that. And I listened to some of Zaire's shows like Beast Fire. And what I didn't agree with him on talking against PlayStation because I'm a PlayStation guy. But I felt it was funny and it was hilarious. But then in a certain kind of way that certain people that was on his show would say shit, I'd be like, yo, bruh, slow your roll. And I can't remember, I don't know if he was with Zaire now when he said this or with another group of niggas. Because I was watching the PlayStation, Sony's conference, right? When they just destroyed Nintendo and Microsoft that year. And this nigga said, man, I wish the guy that shot up the nightclub wouldn't shot up Sony's stage. Nigga, are you mentally ill? You going this hard over video games? And I was like, wow, that was crazy. I remember when I was on Twitter one time too, people. I'm gonna tell you about this other little story, right? I was on Twitter. And this nigga put up, I think it was the news dude name. He got the bald head with the eyeglasses, look like he about 75, but he's like 35. The white guy, dude, skipping it, boom, and a little blow up sound. Review Tech, right? That dude. He had Review Tech as an Arab or Muslim dude with a whip. He had BG. He had Hard 8 and them, all in illustration as slaves. And I said, nigga, are you serious? Do you know what you just put up, bruh? And you supposed to be, but this is the same nigga that was waving a gun around on YouTube talking about how hard he was. And after I said that to him, that nigga evaporated. I forget. He was a Nintendo dude, then he went over to being a real hard Xbox dude, right? That's who he was. Now, let's talk about these podcasts and the personalities they have sprung and people that we've heard about that we never would have heard about. And the shit that I hear said that is complete lunacy, lies, and craziness. I'm gonna tell you something. Let's be real. Crap Gamer is not entertaining. He is a liar. I had him subscribe to his channel because I used to listen to crappy reviews. I used to listen to that, right? Because I'm thinking this nigga playing a game. And then when he got exposed, people were still listening to him. Like, wait a minute. Yo, this nigga don't review the games, he don't play them, right? I remember when I supposed to got exposed, and I said, you know what? I put my shit up on Twitter. Here's my name. Look at my achievements and look how many games I don't beaten on my list. I ain't got no platinums, but nigga, I don't play a lot of games. And if you can go back and find my 360, shit, I was at 33,000 gamers for probably almost 40,000 by the time I went over to PlayStation. So I play games, so that's not even an issue. But I did not appreciate listening to certain people talk crap and not being upfront and real with it. Look, I played Dark Souls 1. I played Dark Souls 2 a little bit, didn't like it, didn't finish it. I moved off that shit. Let me say another thing, people. If you don't like a game, you ain't got to finish it. You go sell that bitch like I did Dark Souls. I ain't like it, I ain't finished it, I sold it. Now, let's go over to, I was listening to people say, okay, you're a fraud, you this, you that. I'm like, wait a minute, bro. You play the game to the end. The end is not the platinum trophy. The end is not every achievement in the game. The end of the game is when you beat the motherfucker. That's the end of the game. Now, if you choose to put in the extra time to get the platinum and all that, just because you don't achieve that don't make you a fraud. Just means you didn't want to go ahead and do the extra mile and get that platinum or the main achievement of the game. That's all the fuck that means. That's it. That's all it means. Now, back over to Zaire, Hard 8, this little group that I heard, right? I was listening to some of these guys go hard at each other, right? And I'm laughing. Because, to be honest, and maybe I'm just ignorant. Maybe I'm just ignorant. I ain't think these niggas was for real, right? Like, I'm gonna give you an example, right? Game from New York and gangs out there in LA. Bro, what the fuck you care what this nigga got to say? That what Tekashi Sensei's rebuttal to that was. And you know what? When a nigga got beef with you, if you don't he pull the energy off you by you going back and forth with him, right? And that's why I was like, yo, Tekashi a smart nigga. He's like, nah, I ain't going there. And I'm like, what? I don't understand. And then it's like, well, you know, he got accused of sexual molestation of a little girl. So you're telling me some of these other big rappers or movie stars or whatever, they ain't associated with fucking little kids. But I'm pretty sure he didn't do that. Because if he did, he would have been in jail because he was a broke nigga at the time that whole little situation happened. If he had did that, we would have never heard about Tekashi Sensei because Tekashi would have been in jail. Just being real with you. Listen, that's just me being real. I think the nigga of this music is hot. And if even if he did or didn't, I'm not saying one way or the other, I still see plenty of motherfuckers bopping R. Kelly. Please, you ain't gonna be mad on one nigga and not mad at the other. You gotta be having that equal. I remember hearing my sister say, she wasn't raped, but wait a minute. I said, take that same piece of logic, my sister. I'm your brother. I'm 20 years old, and this girl is 14, and I go, fuck her. Aren't you gonna look at me funny? I will tell you, be honest with you, I will look at you funny. Now, when I was 17, I had sex with a 13-year-old, but I was 17 and she was 13. And when I was 20, I had sex with a girl that was 19. She was 19. I'm 20. Now, now this is the thing though, right? Be straight up honest with you. When I hear niggas say, "Oh, I had sex with a chick," because I'm telling you, bro, there's some brothers out here. I'll be like, "Yo, bro, you straight pedophile. You straight pedophile." If you're not within, let me be honest with you. This is straight up. If you're between 4 to almost 5 years away from a person, I can understand it. If you're a teenager, you're 17 and your girlfriend's 14, I ain't mad at you. If you're a teenager and your girlfriend's a teenager, I'm not mad at you. I'm a 41-year-old man. Real talk, could I fuck with a chick that's 22? Yes, I could. Would I? Hell no. What the fuck I got in common with a 22-year-old kid? That's what when they talk to me now, they say, what do you think about a chick that's 22? She's like a little kid to me. Being honest with you. That's what I don't get about certain dudes. Brother, you old as fuck and you still fucking a 21-year-old chick? You's a pedophile. You's a pedophile. If you're a 50-year-old nigga, right? And you fucking with a bitch that's 30, I ain't got shit to say to you. Because she 30. But if she like 20 and you 50, nigga, no. No, my nigga, you won't need to be. You know good well you and that girl ain't got nothing in common. Nothing. Nothing in common. But let me go back over to the thing with Hard 8, Zaya, and all these other podcast people, right? I think Hard 8 and then with Weapon Wheel are a very, 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 very funny show. I love this show. Always love it. Always laughing at it. Always the good shit. The show is the shit, right? It's good. Another show that's really good is Porter Rock, Zaire and them on the multiplayer podcast. That show's funny as fuck. Now, are there a couple of people on there that I feel like are a little bit retarded? Yes. Post Up. He says, man, brother, you for real? But I understand that Post Up is a real hardcore Xbox nigga though. So I really don't be like, nah, man, you know, he's just a hardcore Xbox dude. I really don't say shit against him. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what he about. He a hardcore Xbox dude. But then there's a dude that get on there, his name is King Mega.
If you can
King
this, you got
Mega. I be like, bruh, look, Microsoft gonna do this. Sony's gonna do it too. I be like, how do you know that? I could say to you easily, Mr. What is his name? King Mega. You know, Sony and all these exclusives, Microsoft is gonna do it too. Just because I said don't make it true. Sony and Nintendo are not interested in making their games into a service. Why would they do that? Their games are a worldwide phenomenon. You know, it's like when we talk about rap music, right? Let me give it to you in the hood thing. You know what I'm saying? Remember the movie Juice? When he was talking to the old boy who was spinning the records like, yo, nigga, you just local. Them niggas nationwide. See? PlayStation is worldwide. Xbox, y'all niggas just local. In the video game level. On other shit, Surface tablets, all the rest of that, you probably worldwide too. But not on that video game.